A very unusual stage design means an unusual stage with a strong breakaway chased by Visma bike for Wout van Aert all day. This was stage 14 from Villafranca del Bierzo to Villablino. It is not really a mountain stage, but you say, what is that mountain at the end of the stage? Yeah, it's 22 Ks, but it's only 4.5%, very regular, and then a descent finish. Looked pretty much like a breakaway stage, and we had a strong break with Del Toro, Narvaez, Mursa, Frigo, Campenaerts, and Tejada. Problem for them was Visma bike were chasing behind, going for a sprint with Van Aert. So Alpecin, De Koenig, they're there, so they don't have to chase because even though they got Groves behind, they're in the breakaway. Israel the same. Corbin Strong can win from a sprint, but they're in the breakaway with Frigo, who can also win from the breakaway. So they play the two cards. Visma chase with Affini and Geesink, and they keep the gap pretty close. And in this downhill run into the base of that 22 clay climb, Affini brings the gap down to about 1 minute 08, 110, even though the break, I think, tried their best to pace themselves well. But this long climb, it wasn't looking good for them, but it depended on the Visma bike firepower. Frigo, Tejada, and Narvaez quickly go clear. Frigo's been really strong this Vuelta so far. Campenaerts, Del Toro, and Muris are dropped, but Alpecin aren't going to help because they don't know if Groves is going to make it over. Like maybe the climb's harder than the profile looks. Kian Otterbrook starts pulling. He's come good this week and is able to really put 35 seconds into that gap. And that kind of spells again for the breakaway. Even though Narvaez was strong and he's been well represented, he's been in a lot of breaks this Vuelta. He just hasn't had the luck go his way. For Decathlon and Ben O'Connor, pretty great day actually, well controlled. They don't have to pace at all, and they're obviously not going to be concerned about a climb this easy. Narvaez goes clear, and yeah, he'll probably be a little bit annoyed that Visma bike chased because he was the strongest in the breakaway, but Kruijswijk pulls him back with about 4Ks, 5Ks to go on the climb, and that means we might have a sprint. And we're also trying to figure out, because we didn't get many shots of the peloton, who's here? Is Bittner here? Is Groves here? We didn't see any shots of them dropping. Suddenly, Theo Gegenhardt gets to the front, and he is pulling, I assume, for Matthias Vacek, who you can see next to Schkelmoser. They're trying to make it really hard to drop Groves, to drop Bittner, and maybe even drop Van Aert, but that's pretty unlikely. And so Trek don't then pull with Verona. There was this weird phase where I was expecting an attack from Mauro Schmidt, from Stefan Kung maybe, from whoever. Doesn't happen. Verona didn't take over, and then Catania rips it, trying to be first into the descent, I think, for Mikel Landa. Catania has been really strong the last 4 or 5 stages, but Van Aert's able to take the 10 Category 1 points at the top of the mountain. He then freewheels because he's going for the sprint, and we're going to have a descent with pretty much a full peloton. Bittner was able to come back on. He was only gapped right at the end of the ascent. But here, if the eagle-eyed of you spotted 2 Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe riders sliding slowly on the descent, and when it cuts back to the overhead, you see there's nearly a crash deeper as they're in the middle of the road and the riders around them don't know that in that corner there's 2 slow riders. And the reason is Roglic has had a mechanical, I think a rear flat tyre. But luckily for him, Martinez is slightly shorter, so the saddle height would be just about right to get to the finish. They quickly change over bikes seamlessly, and Roglic with 14Ks to go, with no one really pushing it on the descent, to be honest. He's got teammates dropping back, although I'm not really sure how much Aliotti and Vlasov helped him, because Roglic is a much better descender and much more aerodynamic on a fast descent like this than both of them, and Aliotti nearly came a cropper actually trying to overextend to get back to him. But there's also 5Ks of flat at the end. Roglic gets back before that flat even starts. He's somewhere in the peloton here, and he got back into the cars quicker. So thankfully, he didn't lose time. Bora managed it well. He's back in the peloton, and we're going to have a sprint after a Category 1 45-minute climb. Alpecin got 5 guys, but they try to get greedy. They don't really use them, and if you don't use them, you lose them, because DSM wash over them with Pavel Bittner on the right-hand side. Sivakov is leading out Baroncini for UAE Team Emirates. But DSM doing this actually, I think, cooked Pavel Bittner's legs, because he really was cooked by the time the sprint started. And this is the difference between Vuelta stages and sprints and Tour de France sprints. Edward Plancart gets space to the right. There's a big important left-hand corner coming up. In a Tour de France, Wout van Aert is going to get chopped off the wheel of Groves here. Someone's going to claim it, either the Cofidis rider or the Euskaltel rider will just take it off him. But Van Aert's like, I'll just slide through because I'm bigger than all of you and more powerful than all of you, and it's not like Groenewegen, and you see Bittner did the same thing to the Euskaltel rider. It's just so different, these Vuelta sprints, and Alpecin play it perfectly there. First into that left-hand corner, Wout van Aert doesn't take it so well. Maybe you thought Sivakov was going to close the gap, and he has to close the gap just before that corner. But Plancart, man, what a lead-out he does. He goes from that corner, and he drops Groves off at 175 metres to go. It is a slight uphill drag, and Groves... what an impressive sprint. After doing the Category 1 climb, he's going head-to-head with Wout van Aert. Wout van Aert gets ahead of him initially, but to be able to sprint like that, Groves, after that climb, on this little uphill drag, side-by-side with Van Aert, and beat him, really, really impressive. And that's why he's won 6 Vuelta stages after today, including a Giro stage. He's just a super fit sprinter who can do his sprint after a really hard threshold, or probably sub-threshold effort, to be honest. I don't even think he was in trouble on the climb, and he beats Van Aert after Visma bike pulled all day. I mean, the consolation for Van Aert is he does take those 10 KOM points, and he says he will be defending that jersey, but he wanted the stage, and Groves took it from him, and Alpecin looked strong at the end. Ahead of Van Aert, strong third, then Vacek, Mikel Baroncini, Guglielmi, Leivens, Berastegui, and Canal rounding out the top 10. Here's what Groves had to say after the stage.
Okay, then, how does it feel to beat the super favorite of the day?
Yeah, it feels really good. I didn't actually expect today to be a sprint as it was, but Jumbo controlled it, and to have a man-on-man sprint against Wout is pretty awesome.
How did you go in the climb?
Yeah, I think it was quite okay in the wheels. I thought it might be a bit hard if they start attacking, but thankfully Jumbo just rode at a really high pace, and no one attacked, and my teammates also got over with me, so we could control the finish.
Take us through the last 300 meters and that jump that makes you a winner.
Yeah, I mean, the team did a great job. Edward again did a good lead out like he did in Sevilla, but today I didn't hesitate, and I think I did a really good sprint, and it felt like quite a bit of a drag race against Wout, but in the end, it was good enough to beat him.
Your 6th victory at La Vuelta?
Yeah, it's obviously really nice. I love racing here, and my 3rd Vuelta and now my 6th win. It's good to see the consistency and the hard work paying off.
In terms of the general classification, no changes, which is what we expected. It was too easy a climb for the GC guys to do anything, barring bad luck, and thankfully Roglic and Bora managed it well, so the luck didn't change anything. But tomorrow's a different story. We got the Cuito Negro, 19k, 7%, last 3ks are about 13%, pretty difficult, and so it's all going to kick off again. I'll see you with the video tomorrow. Ciao!